first date with a new guy in town.
She really liked him.
I was very excited.
A gentleman through and through.
Ladies first.
He's definitely much better with the manners than my ex-boyfriend.
But when a midnight curfew
Don't worry, we got plenty of time.
expires,
And out of the blue,
I had no idea what was happening. I would panic.
he was extremely volatile.
all hell breaks loose. It can get cold in some parts of Texas, but when it comes to young love, there's no place warmer.
There's plenty of cute boys, and it's pretty good for having things open late or 24 hours. So as a teenager, it's always nice.
For 16-year-old high school student Kay, a night of fun begins at Springwoods High.
One of the guys I went to school with had asked me out to dinner and a movie. That night we had a band concert, so we made arrangements to meet in the front of the school after the concert, a little after 8 o'clock. And I was very excited.
And who wouldn't be? Kay's going out with a hunky new kid in town, 17-year-old Scott May.
Scott May was a tall, blonde, good-looking guy.
He was quiet, shy.
Scott was a new transfer-in student. So like any high school, when you have the new guy in, and of course he's cute, he's gonna get talked about. His locker wasn't too far from mine.
Hi. You're new here, right?
Yeah, my name's Scott. I just moved here from Georgia.
And I had asked him if he wanted to, hang out.
If you don't want to sit alone at lunch, just look for my table.
Thanks.
She worked at a grocery store, and he would come in to see her and talk to her.
And he bought a pack of gum, which you don't usually just see.
Hi.
Hey!
And I said hi to him.
I'm good. How are you?
I hadn't seen him in a while, so we chatted for a few minutes. It wasn't busy.
What have you been up to?
I was just working and schoolwork.
And he asked me,
Do you want to go out sometime?
and I said yes.
Yeah, I'd love that.
Awesome. What about this Friday?
Yeah, Friday's great.
I'll see you then.
Okay, cool.
Kay can hardly contain her excitement, and that's saying something.
She was a little shy. She had to take time before she really would be comfortable enough to be by herself with a boy.
Too bad Scott's late.
And I wasn't sure what to do at that point. If he didn't get there within about 15 minutes, I was going to go home, because I'm not going to get stood up and wait there for an hour. I have my pride.
For now, at least.
What are you doing here?
What are you still doing here? I heard the show's over.
It's her ex.
He asks, the concert is over, why are you hanging out in front of the school? And I say,
I actually have a date.
the wonderful new guy that I met, the cute guy that just transferred in, why are you even talking to me? And at that moment, Scott shows up, saving the day.
Hey, Kay.
And I get to walk up and give Scott a great big hug and say,
Let's get out of here.
in front of the ex-boyfriend. It's very satisfying. We went to dinner.
Ladies first.
Why, thank you. Such the gentleman.
He held the door open for me. That was pretty awesome. I don't remember the ex-boyfriend ever holding the door open for me. He's a step up. He's somebody I wouldn't mind having a picture taken with. We had a lovely dinner.
So, what's it like being the new kid in school?
It's actually been kind of tough.
He was a little bit more open than he had been in school. He was really happy in his old school, and he's now uprooted and living somewhere else. That's always a difficult transition.
Yeah, that must be rough.
It's been really rough for my sister. This guy who's like 12 years older than her, named Tuna, he started hitting on her, and my stepdad totally freaked out.
I think every father would step in front of a 27-year-old man that was trying to date their 15-year-old daughter. But Scott's stepfather became enraged over that and went to the place where this Tuna worked.
Are you Tuna?
Yeah, who are you?
Oh, you stay away from my stepdaughter. If I see you around her anymore, I'm gonna kill you. I look out for both my stepkids, you understand?
Scott's stepfather wanted to be perceived as a protective parent. But he probably had his own issues.
Everyone's got demons.
Hey, Dad, I'm getting ready to go on my date with that girl.
Yeah, what's her name?
Kay.
Kay. She's better than that Buffy girl.
Well, she didn't turn me down like Buffy did, so I'm happy about that.
Well, she better treat my stepson right if she knows what's good for her.
See you later.
Dear old Dad could interrupt their flirting at any moment.
Guess my stepdad can be a little overprotective.
Yeah, my mom is super protective.
In talking about my relationship with my parents, I had let him know that I did have to be home by midnight.
She actually gave me a curfew for tonight.
Don't worry. We got plenty of time.
They may have less time than they think. Kay's first date with hunky Scott May
Ladies first.
is what any high school girl would hope for.
I was a 16-year-old at the height of my happiness.
And with this gent, it only gets better.
Thank you.
So we finished up, and he paid for dinner, which was always nice. He's definitely much better with the manners than my ex-boyfriend.
And the chivalry's only just beginning.
So we went to the movie theater next. I had actually picked the movie out. A little bit of a love story, so definitely proper for a date. I remember thinking, okay, well, I'm gonna sit with my hands in my lap, and or maybe I should move my hand to the armrest and just kind of leave it out there, because you know, if he wanted to hold my hand, he could. And he had just kind of lightly put his hand on mine. I freely admit that when he went to hold my hand, I was a little bit nervous. Are my palms sweating? Can he feel my heart beating a little too fast here? But let the hand hold, and we'll see where the night ends up. He ended up getting up all of a sudden, which I thought was kind of odd, but you know, if you're nervous, you have to go to the bathroom, it happens. You gotta go, you gotta go.
So long as he comes back.
The theater wasn't overly full, so I'm just sitting there watching the movie.
Hey,
You scared me.
sorry.
I was looking forward to the movie being over. Maybe he was gonna kiss me. You know, that's exciting part of the date.
I really liked that movie. How about you?
Yeah, I never thought I'd enjoy romance that much.
And I told him that I wasn't quite ready to go home. I still had some more time before my midnight curfew.
Hey, it's only 11:30. Still have half an hour before I need to be home. Do you want to drive around for a little?
Sure.
Okay, cool.
The movie theater was probably a mile or so from my house, so I showed him where I lived in case he wanted to come visit or something.
There.
Oh, nice.
We got back over towards the area where the high school was at. So I pulled into the parking lot and he directed me around to kind of the back area, which was more romantically lit, meaning there wasn't much light at all. So I'm thinking, you know, this is great. I'm gonna get kissed. I still got at least 10 minutes for my midnight curfew. And we kind of turned towards each other and he moved in.
He was a gentleman even when he was kissing her. He wasn't going to try and be, you know, gropey, feely, you know, let me see how far she'll let me go. He was quite the gentleman and just kept it at a kiss.
It's passionate. My heart was pounding. I was excited. I've been on this wonderful date with this guy. You know, he's really cute and he really seems to like me. My watch beeped, and so I had said,
It's past my curfew.
What will your mom do if you're late?
and I looked at him in my most wonderfully sarcastic voice. I said,
Kill me.
Everything about Kay's first date with Scott May has been perfect.
I was very happy with the evening. We were young, we were 16, 17, but, you know, I felt respected. You know, he treated me a lot better than my ex-boyfriend.
But at the stroke of midnight, something strange happens.
The date turned into a situation where they kissed each other, and Kay's watch went off. It was time that she needed to be home.
What will your mom do if you're late?
Kill me.
There was a kiss or two, and out of the blue, absolutely, with no warning.
I felt the punch. I had no idea what was happening. It probably took me 5-10 seconds to realize that I was being attacked by my date.
He had stabbed her in the neck, probably trying to cut her throat, totally out of the blue.
This came out of left field.
Stop, you're killing me!
I like to kill.
He had severed my carotid artery and my jugular vein. I could see the blood squirting, and it was arcing out. At that point, I realized, okay, I have to get away from him. I can't just let him sit here and stab me.
Then he stops, as if to taunt her.
So I tried to turn the car on, turn the ignition on to get away. The car was an automatic. I tried to start it and I flooded it. I realized that fairly quickly. And he is sitting in the car beside me, so that really wouldn't have done a whole lot of good. So then my next thought was, I'm gonna get out of the car and run. There's nowhere for me to run. He can certainly catch me.
And then his stepper started stabbing her. Stabbed her in the neck and stabbed her in the chest and the trunk of the body, stabbed her 3 or 4 times.
So that was it. So once I realized he was gone, I thought, okay, maybe I can get out of this.
But can she really?
Being in a situation like that, I would panic. I probably would have ended up bleeding to death in that car. Kay, being the strong woman that she is, she got mad.
And I tried one more time to start the car, and it started. I put my hand over my neck to stop the blood flow, and I did manage to drive out of the parking lot. My initial thought was, I need help. I had blood loss. I know that I'm panicked. I know that I'm freaking out.
Kay's the never give up type. She will find the help she needs. She will do what has to be done.
But Scott's still out there.
So at that point, I had seen a convenience store and decided that I needed to go there. I put the car in park. I turned off the ignition. I pulled the keys out. I didn't feel anything. I didn't have any pain. I was in shock. The neighborhood is not the best, so even though it was on all night, they do keep the door locked so that they can choose who to let in and who not to.
Help me! Open the door! What happened? This guy stabbed me! Help me, please! Help me! Oh, my mom, please! Just get help!
Her name was Angelina, and she goes by the name Angel.
But is Kay's Angel
I see him! That's him!
any match for a demon?
Hurry, lock the door! Lock the door! Hurry!
And she was very lucky that her guardian angel was looking over her.
Now, Kay, I need you to tell me anything that you could possibly remember about that night. Anything at all that would help us get him.
What? You haven't found him yet?
She was very afraid of this young man not being in custody. So we put her in a room in the hospital, not under her name.
The detective needs to find Scott before Scott can find Kay.
Within the first few days after this attack, we learned that Scott May had volatile history, that he was a troubled youth in the juvenile justice system. He was extremely volatile, and he was a loose cannon.
After 2 days of surveillance in Scott's neighborhood, Detective Binford sees something that makes him do a double take. For For exclusive footage, go to investigationdiscovery.com. Kay's date, Scott May, was a perfect gentleman. Until he stabbed her mercilessly and left her for dead.
This guy stabbed me!
Now, it's up to Detective Jim Binford to catch up with Kay's assailant before he can finish the job.
We set up a surveillance on his home on this known address. And just as luck would have it, I looked up. It was one of those where you look at the picture and look at him, look at the picture and look at him. Is that him? Is that him? And I said, I think that is him. And started walking down the sidewalk, and I looked up, and I was positive in my mind that it was Scott May. I can remember trying to put the big grin on and say,
Hey, how you doing, buddy?
well, Scott May didn't have a clue who I was, but he stuck his hand out and shook my hand. When I looked down, I saw Kill, K-I-L-L, like a new tattoo on his hand. Well, we got him hooked up and arrested, and we wanted to know what for.
You're under arrest for attempted murder. Attempted murder? She's still alive? I have to do better next time.
Well, his computer certainly runs different than most of our computers. And that he's a psychopathic.
Even more disturbing is what they find in Scott's house.
What the hell do you want?
Here to search the premises.
Can't do that.
I got a warrant that says otherwise. Please step aside.
It was a horror trove. Several books about serial killers, a book about cults that kill other people. And in his writings, we discovered Scott had developed a kill list.
Luckily, no one ended up dead. Scott May pleads guilty to attempted murder and spends the next 20 years in the state pen.
I've changed my name. I've moved around multiple times. I'm not worried about him finding me. And even if he did, I'm a lot smarter now, and I'm not going to be in a situation where it would be easy for something like that to happen.
And besides, Kay's near-death experience has made her life that much better.
After I had left the emergency room, the doctor had come in to, see how I was doing and told us that the knife had cut 50% of my carotid artery and 65% of my jugular vein, which are these veins that are right here that pump straight from the heart. And somehow that the arteries had sealed themselves. That's impossible. I couldn't believe it. I was alive. I can't regret what happened because I'm a better person today. I would not have had the opportunities that I had. Everything that happened there put me on a different road, on a different path. A place that I would not have been. It was a miracle.